I was studying classical music. I came from a very musical family. My mother was playing at home all the time, piano by ear. Also she composed, but after war there was no real possibility for her to study and still less study composition or so. But of course she understood then my talent, and as the Finnish music pedagogy was developing very, very fast in the 60s, as is well known all over the world. So I kind of rode on the top of that, and I went to the first music kindergarten when I was 4, and that was founded by the excellent pedagogue Sinikka Valkola-Laine, who then took me further and suggested to my parents that I should apply to come into the youth department of Sibelius Academy as I was 9. So it was, the root of that was a family and pedagogues that understood my talent and were really listening to what I was doing. About my compositions and composing, rather, it is very important. The people who have been supporting that, because in the 70s, as a woman, young girl, at that time. In the Sibelius Academy, of course, I was studying classical music, but it wasn't very common that to be a composer when you were a girl or a woman. And also, as I was coming from the singer-songwriter and jazz and that kind of thing, I didn't go to study classical composition, as it was very strict, the normatives at that point, here in Finland at least, in the 70s. So I never studied officially in the Sibelius Academy composing. But the musician that supported me, and we had a duo together, was Teppo Hauta-aho, an eminent double bass player, composer, both in jazz and in classical music. And we did music throughout 45 years together as a duo, all over Finland and all over the world. And our motto was music without borders. So we were in the 70s already crossover musicians when not many were. So Teppo was a very important person in my musical life, and as a friend also. Yes, the question is, for instance, why we call these chamber music CDs, Hidden Stories. 7 of these pieces of chamber music, of my chamber music, were kind of hidden in the Finnish radio because they, through over 30 years, they have been recording my music there, and also my chamber music. But it is not, of course, as many pieces. It's not very often played for the public, so that was a pity, of course. And so that is kind of my thought, that my music is hidden. The other reason is that this is a more hidden side of my musicianship, because I became known as a mere 20 years old girl more as a singer-songwriter, and also which took me to the Eurovision Song Contest. I was also playing, for instance, in the Pori Jazz Festival in the 70s, 74. So I was known for that kind of music. But at the same time, I was studying classical music, classical piano, in the Sibelius Academy in Finland since I was 9 years old. So that was classical music was the thing I was studying, but I was doing both classical jazz and folk and Latin kind of music all the time, and also records in that field. And I thought it was a pity that only that side of me would be available on record. So actually this corona pandemia has resulted in that I had time to think of this idea, that what if now would be the time to get these recordings from the Finnish radio company, broadcasting company, to buy out some of that and then release that on records, and also then some other pieces that haven't been recorded. We recorded. That is the record company Pilfink. The manager of that, Jarmo Kähkönen, has recorded and is going to still record one of these pieces on these 2 Hidden Stories records.